Hey guys, what's going on? It's Brian coming to you from the TST Industries garage. As you can see behind me today, I have our 2017 Honda Grom, and we are going to be installing the newest generation of our TST Frame Sliders for the Honda Grom. So if you guys have been following us for a little while, you know that we did actually release a previous generation of these frame sliders. Unfortunately, during manufacturing, we found out through the grapevine that Honda actually went ahead and changed the case cover for these bikes. That unfortunately made it so that our right side bracket, that side that has the oil fill and dipstick, that bracket no longer worked on the newer models that were coming out, and even some of those previous gens. Honda went ahead and changed where that dipstick actually sat, right up into the region that our bracket was mounting up to that case cover. So we unfortunately had to go back into development and figure out a geometry that would work for many of these case covers. So I am excited to bring you the newest generation of our frame slider kit. These are machined out of aluminum, black anodized, to give that really nice clean look. We have this really cool textured pattern on the top of them to kind of help them blend in a little bit more but stand out if you're really looking for them. These are going to work on all generations of Groms, including the Katako case. So if you guys have swapped out to that case, we do have you covered here as well. This is going to be a great addition to any Grom, whether you stunt it, race it, just street ride it. It's going to be a protective kit for your motorcycle. It's going to help you save a couple of your controls or things like that that will eventually hit if you didn't have something protecting you in the event of a low side or high side or any crash for that matter. So the installation is pretty straightforward. Let's just jump right into it. A couple bolts come out, our brackets go on, you're ready to ride. Let's go. All right, so we're over here on the left side of the Grom. I do just want to point out that I've taken all of my kit contents and brought them over here. They will all come wrapped individually just to protect them during shipping and everything, but I've gone ahead and removed all the wrapping so that we can kind of see what we're working with here. All of my hardware, same deal. I kind of have it all setting out, ready to go. So being that we're working on the left side here, we do want to make sure that we have the left side bracket, and the rest of the hardware I'll mention as we move along. So we're going to start by needing to remove these 3 case cover fasteners and this hanger bolt as well. We're just going to remove the nut and then have the other threaded rod push that one out so that we never actually lose that hanger bolt there. So let's go ahead and start with a 8mm socket. We're going to remove these 3 fasteners. So we do have this little cable management clip right here. We're going to remove this. We're not going to be reusing that guy actually. It's not too big of a deal, but if you are kind of concerned about where this wire is going to end up, you obviously don't want it touching the head. We haven't had that issue, but if you are concerned, you can always throw a zip tie over this after the fact. So let's go ahead and grab 2 14mm sockets now. We're going to have to loosen this engine hanger bolt. So reach over the other side, locate the head. Going to remove that nut, set that off to the side. It's at this point that we're going to go ahead and prep our left side bracket. So to do that, we're going to want to keep that handy. We're going to take 3 of our M6 fasteners. They are all the same length, conveniently. So we're going to take a washer and throw it down on each one of our 3. So at this point, we're going to take our bracket, and in the 3 M6 sized holes, we're going to drop our bolts down, flip the bracket over, holding each one. We're going to take 1 of our 10mm spacers and throw it on each of the M6 fasteners. And then we're also going to take the longer of the M10 size spacer. We're going to put that over our existing OEM bolt. We're going to take one of the M10 washers. I can set this bracket down now that it's kind of prepared. So one of the M10 washers on our long 230mm M10 bolt. So throw that washer on there. Come back to our bracket, making sure that we're not dropping anything as we do this. It can be kind of a juggling act here and there. We're going to throw this up into position, hand navigating some of these M6 fasteners. You can go ahead and hand thread just a bit. Then with everything still kind of loose, we can grab that spacer, and then actually go ahead and push that engine hanger bolt out from the other side, grabbing it as we do. There we have it. Hanger bolt is out. I'm going to retain my OEM nut just for the future. Set that down. So we can go ahead and tighten some of these just a little bit. We don't want to go all the way to bottom out yet. We want to leave a little bit of play, but let's just take a little bit of the slop out of the situation. We're going to want to have both left and right brackets on before we actually come back through and tighten everything down to bottom out and then proper torque. We do have a little bit of tolerance designed in these kits, so we want to make sure that everything is in place before we crank everything down. So we are now going to need a Delrin puck. We're going to need the sleeve that's inside of it. These will come in a little baggie. Again, I've removed that. Make sure that that sleeve is in your Delrin puck, otherwise you will not get proper fitment and your bolt head will not be interacting with metal. It will be crushing into Delrin, which is not a fun experience. So we're going to take that sleeve, drop it down in with the flange out. We're going to take the shorter of the two remaining M10 bolts and the shorter of these spacers for the frame slider. Locate like that, bolt down in. We're going to need a 17 mil socket for this, so I'm going to go ahead and throw that on now. Then the long threaded spacer, we're going to go ahead and take that, put that up into the motorcycle above the engine head. Now hold that in place. Then we're going to take our frame slider puck and start to thread that in. Again, we're going to want to go just before bottom out, so leave a little bit of play in there. It'll allow us to locate that other one much, much easier. But at this time, we're actually done with the left side. We're going to go over to the right side of the motorcycle, do almost the exact same process, and then come back through, torque everything up, and you're good to go. To begin, we will have to go back to our 8mm socket because we're going to have these two case cover bolts that are going to have to come out. Let's go ahead and do that. Setting those guys down, we do have this little wire management guy as well, but this is going to come off like the other side. Again, if you are concerned, we haven't had any issues, but you can always zip tie this to the bracket once we are done here. But with those pieces off, we are going to take our remaining smaller M10 spacer, throw that over that 230 mil bolt that we threw on. We're going to take our remaining two M6 cap screws, throw a washer on each. Putting those through the two bottom holes on our bracket. And then we're going to go ahead and locate this bracket up into position. Again, just kind of start these guys. We don't want to bottom them out just yet. Just give them a little bit of something to bite on so that they're not falling out on you. We can take our remaining larger M10 washer, put that over the bolt, our nylock M10 nut over the bolt as well. You'll get to the nylock component pretty quick. And then our remaining Delrin puck, again, make sure that that sleeve is in there. Drop it down in. The longer of the two M10 hex head hardware, and then the longer bracket. So we're going to go ahead and move our spacer, our long threaded spacer, up into position. We're going to grab that 17 mil socket, start to hand thread this in. You can tell I'm getting pretty good engagement right now. There we go. All right, so I did go to bottom out there because we are starting to get to the point of completion. So we're going to go ahead and bottom these fasteners out as well. We're going to now take our 17mm sockets, putting them on each of my ratchets. We're going to go ahead and bottom out this nylock component here. So locate that bolt head on the other side. Got to do it by feel. There we are. Just going to go ahead and bottom this component out. We'll come back through and give it a torque. So while we're reaching over there, we could go ahead and tighten down the other frame slider puck. Remember, we left that kind of just loose. So we're going to go ahead and tighten that down. Apply a little bit of a counter force here. There we go. All right, so it is time to bust out the torque wrenches, tighten everything back up to spec, and then we are good to ride. So I'm gonna take that 17 off of my larger ratchet. I'm gonna put it on my torque wrench. We have this set to 40 foot-pounds. That's gonna be the torque for our engine hanger bolt here. So we're gonna wanna locate that head again. There we go. All right, so we're gonna drop this 2 foot-pounds. And while we're over here, so we're dropping it to 38 foot-pounds now. And that's gonna be the torque for our pucks here. Make sure that your logo is where you want it. We're not super particular, but I like to have things kind of even with the ground. So I'll check the other side really quick. While I'm over here, I'm gonna torque this puck down to 38. There's one. Come back to the right side, repeat. There we have it. So I'm now going to take a smaller torque wrench, something of the range of 50 to 250 inch-pounds. This is going to be a 9 foot-pound torque that we have to apply. That is going to be with a 5mm hex socket. So let's go ahead and throw my extension on in between this, make it a little bit easier. So at 9 foot-pounds, we're gonna do the case cover fasteners. Perfect. We're gonna do the other 3 that we had removed, so the 3 M6 fasteners at 9 foot-pounds. All right, perfect. There is one final step in this installation. We have these nice little caps provided for our frame slider. So we're just gonna wanna make sure that our logo is lined up. Now, if you guys are paranoid about these, you can throw a tiny little dab of silicone around the ring just to make sure that they stay in there. It is possible that they'll vibrate out, but we're not too worried about that. So we'll just pop that in, make sure it's straight. Give it a good press. Some of these have a pretty tight tolerance. You might want to tap it with a mallet. I was able to get it in by hand. We're going to throw this one in the other side. All right, guys, so with everything torqued down, this installation is complete. This Grom is ready to hit the streets, the racetrack, the stunt lot, whatever it may be. This Grom is ready to go. It's going to be protected in the event of a crash. I do want to point out that these little accent caps that we added, those do come in many colors if you guys want to accent your Grom with some color that will match your bike a little bit better. We kept the black. We like that kind of sleek, hidden look almost. This is going to be one of many parts that we'll suggest having on your Grom for crash protection. You'll see we have the frame sliders, we have some bar ends, we do have some axle sliders as well. It's going to give you a really nice complete package. As you guys know, you can find those parts at tstindustries.com. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let us know we're doing something right. Check out our other videos on the Grom. We have build series on many other bikes. We have tons of installations on this Grom. Any part that we have for it, we've installed on video for you guys. I'll catch you next time. It's been Brian with TST.